Strictly speaking, no. Not to mention that Li Juanze and his girlfriend had only pledged to marry in private. Her title as his fiancée had yet to be certified. Even if they were already married and Lu Su had become a young madam of the Li family, her brother wouldn't be considered a part of the Li family. But some things were never that simple. Especially for a martial arts family like the Li family that had existed for hundreds of years. The patriarch's brother-in-law, regardless of his surname, was a member of the Li family in the eyes of others. At the very least, he was protected by the Li family's power, even though this layer of protection was very limited. However, no matter how limited, it was still stronger than that of ordinary factions. Therefore, when Si Wujiu said that the man hanging in midair was a member of the Li family, Li Mingfang's heart turned cold. Of course, this did not mean that he would simply accept this. The same explanation, Lu Su had not married Li Juanze. Even if she had, Li Mingfang wouldn't drag the Li family down just because of an extra outsider. His heart turned cold because he had sensed Si Wujiu's conspiracy. In the chaos, anger, and fear earlier, he didn't understand why Si Wujiu was attacking the Li family. Now that he had calmed down, he finally figured out Si Wujiu's motive. This fellow, everything about grabbing women off the streets and the Li family being too arrogant was a mere excuse. An excuse to intervene in the Li family, force the Li family, and extort the Li family. Although Li Mingfang temporarily didn't understand what Si Wujiu was plotting, he certainly had a motive. Since the other party clearly had a motive, no matter what, this show would continue. In other words, no matter how he argued or resisted, the Li family had already been targeted by Si Wujiu. They were targeted by a third-grade martial artist and a faction with huge influence. This was why Li Mingfang was startled. Of course, Li Mingfang would not resign himself to fate despite his shock and anger. Ha ha ha. He laughed out loud. Chairman Si, is it? I'm afraid you have a problem with your comprehension ability. Lu Su and my son aren't married yet. Even if they are, Lu Su's older brother will not be a member of the Li family. Whatever he does has nothing to do with the Li family. On the contrary, if this fellow does things in the name of the Li family, you don't have to do anything. I, Li Mingfang, will be the first to cripple him. So, Si Wujiu glanced at the man on his feet and the corners of his lips curled up. It doesn't matter to you whether he dies or not. Of course, Li Mingfang said righteously. What about the Li family's future patriarch? Si Wujiu looked at Li Juanze. Doesn't matter to you either. Chairman Si, firstly, my son isn't the future patriarch of the Li family yet. He hasn't received Li family's jade token heirloom. Secondly, my son and Lu Su have already broken up. Li Mingfang said sternly before Li Juanze could speak. So. Therefore, the fate of Lu Su and her brother have nothing to do with us. Li Mingfang said expressionlessly, Chairman Si, you can do whatever you want with him. Also, please deal with him outside. This is the Li family's manor, not a street market or a crematorium. Good. A smile appeared on Si Wujiu's face. In that case, I have disrupted you. My previous offense was purely due to a misunderstanding. I hope you can forgive me. It's fine. Li Mingfang raised his hand. Chairman Si's commotion happened to help me test the security system of the manor. I can't wait to thank President Si. Ha ha ha, that's my honor. Si Wujiu laughed loudly and soared into the air. Everyone, retreat. Swish. 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 The invading figures that were scattered in every corner of the manor immediately retreated and quickly left the Li family's manor when they heard the order. The man who was hanging from his legs was also taken away. The moment they left the Li family's manor, he was split into two by a blade. Starting from the middle of his thigh, he split into two halves. Su Jingxing extracted a card and watched silently. The others did the same. The major factions that had rushed over to take a look remained silent. Although the development of this show was somewhat dramatic towards this end, and not even anticlimactic, no one was a fool. They could all tell that Si Wujio was casting a long line for a big fish. He had targeted the big fish that was the Li family. The logic was simple. Si Wujio was a third-grade martial artist. The 100-odd people he had brought with him were all in the 5th grade or above. Among them, there were more than 10 4th-grade martial artists. If he really wanted to take revenge and destroy the Li family, he wouldn't have caused such a big commotion. He totally could have killed everyone before the Li family could react. However, Si Wujio chose to blow things up and attract the attention of all the major factions in the city. Even Gu Zhanlin was brought here. His goal was definitely not simple. As for what exactly Si Wujio was plotting, anyone knew what they were plotting apart from him. Even the Li family. They were terrified and furious at this moment, but they didn't understand what Si Wujio wanted from them. Does the Li family have any secret treasures? A treasure that even a third-grade expert like Si Wujio coveted. At this thought, many people's expressions changed. They looked at the Li family members with a strange look. Even Su Jingxing was curious. After Si Wujio left with his men, Gu Zhanlin opened his mouth but didn't say anything in the end. He also left with his men. Most of the people from the other factions had left, and a small portion of them continued to lurk around the Li family estate. When Su Jingxing saw this, he thought for a moment and returned to his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. Then, he manifested his essence soul and sent it to the Li family estate in its illusory state. It sneaked into the manor silently and waited patiently. The others were curious about what treasures the Li family had. Even the Li family could not avoid this. Li Mingfang and the other upper echelons of the Li family would probably gather to discuss this matter. In the essence soul's illusory state, it was invisible to the naked eye. Su Jingxing discovered this by accident. When the essence soul turned incorporeal, it could not be seen with the naked eye. Ordinary perception abilities could not sense it either. Even though the blood doppelganger's hearing was better than the main body's, there was one thing that could not be fixed. That was soundproofing. Once soundproofed and sound waves could not be transmitted, the secret ability would lose its effect. The essence soul was different. It was even more magical than blood doppelganger, which was an energy body. As long as Su Jingxing wanted to, he could even listen to the entire city. Of course, listening to the entire city consumed a lot of soul power, and it couldn't be sustained for long. There was no need for that. Neither would Su Jingxing do that. It wouldn't be a problem to narrow it down to a certain range. Even through a few layers of steel plates, he could still hear well. Although the Li family's manor occupied a large area, it was still within the range of the essence soul's listening. Whether it was above ground or underground, as long as they spoke, Su Jingxing could hear the contents of the discussion between Li Mingfang and the Li family's higher-ups. The development of the situation did not disappoint him. About 2 hours later, in a basement in the northwest corner of the manor, the essence soul listened to the discussion between Li Mingfang, Li Lilo, and the others. Su Jingxing controlled the essence soul and decisively moved closer to reduce the consumption of his soul power. What's going on? Who leaked our information out there? In the sealed-off, secluded underground space, Li Lilo gritted his teeth and shouted with a dark expression. I also want to know who exactly leaked our secret, said an old man with white hair, his eyes spitting fire. His name was Li Lichuan. In terms of age, he was the second oldest in the Li family's older generation. He was experienced and had a high status. Most of the time, Li Mingfang, the patriarch, had to listen to his suggestions. Mingfang, did you receive any news? When did the Li family offend the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce? Asked Li Lichuan angrily. It might not necessarily be the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce, said a middle-aged man softly. What do you mean? Li Lichuan turned his head and glared at him. I mean that Si Wujio's deliberate attack on us this time might be his own business, not that of the entire Tianlong Chamber of Commerce, said the middle-aged man indifferently. According to what I know, the chairmans of the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce aren't close. Most of the time, they do their own things. Only when they encounter major matters that relate to all of them or something that every one of them wants will they join forces to deal with others. In other words, targeting us this time is Si Wujio's individual scheme? Li Lilo pondered. It's just a guess. The middle-aged man nodded and said, no one knows what the truth is. But no matter what, we've been targeted. Third-grade martial artists, more than 10 in the 4th grade, and more than 100 in the 5th grade. Even if they weren't sent by all the chairmans of the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce, we wouldn't be able to resist this power. That D*MN Si Wujio, cursed Li Lichuan. Whether he's D*Mnang or not, let's put that aside for now. I'm even more curious about why he has his eyes on us. With Si Wujio's strength and identity, what does the Li family have that he would want? Confusion was written all over Li Lilo's face. Puzzled, he asked, even though the things we have in our collection are pretty, they shouldn't have attracted Si Wujio to fight us, right? Shameful to say, but if he really had his eyes on something, he could have just asked us for it. We wouldn't have dared to not give it to him. Was there a need to make such a big commotion? First, he deliberately baited Lu Su's ID*OT brother. Then, he led his men to our door and then left with a big laugh. Anyone would know that there is something wrong with him. What is his motive for doing this? There was a moment of silence. In the secret chamber, everyone fell into deep thought, not understanding Si Wujio's motives. Let's ask the first elder. Suddenly, Li Mingfang said in a low voice, perhaps, the first elder would know some reasons. Contact the first elder at this time. The middle-aged man continued. The first elder has been in seclusion for almost 10 years. Will we be able to contact him now? Sure, said Li Mingfang in a low voice. I've left an emergency means of contact. We can even video call. The others revealed strange expressions when they heard this. In ancient times, who would be able to video chat with others while in seclusion? Cough cough. Li Lichuan coughed lightly. Then let's contact Big Brother. Si Wujio most likely also wants us to contact him. That's why he put up this show tonight. That's possible. That's right, that's right. Si Wujio definitely knows that the first elder isn't in Qinghe City. If he directly destroys us, we won't even be able to send information out. When the first elder returns, we would have long become a pile of ashes. This fellow Si Wujio, his target is the first elder. D*Ned bastard. He injured so many of our men and caused such a big commotion. And it was all just to lure out the first elder. Perhaps he has other intentions. It's not just to lure out the first elder. The mausoleum of Prince Qin is not the only secret in Qinghe City. The group discussed animatedly, and the atmosphere became lively. Hold on, everyone. I'll contact the first elder immediately, said Li Mingfang indifferently. He stood up, walked to a corner, pressed the button, and opened a small secret chamber. The chamber door opened and Li Mingfang walked in. He fiddled with some machines. In the room outside, the television on the wall immediately switched on, revealing an image. It was a wall. On the wall were the patterns of the Li family's 7 calamities will mantra. After a while, the wall on the screen suddenly twisted and opened to both sides, revealing a secret chamber. The secret chamber was dark at first. A ball of light lit up and slowly illuminated the room. Li Mingfang and the others could only see the profile of the white-haired old man sitting cross-legged on the ground. He was motionless. Even through the screen, they could feel his aura lingering and charging. First Elder. First Elder. Big Brother. When the people in the room saw the old man, they immediately greeted him. Silence came from the television screen. There was no sound at all. If Li Mingfang did not know that all the audio had been switched on, he would have thought that the television was broken. The group waited for a while before sound came through the speakers. "What's the matter?" A deep, resonant and slightly masculine voice reverberated through the room. "It's like this, First Elder." As the patriarch, Li Mingfang replied on behalf of everyone respectfully, "We've been targeted by a person named Si Wuzhou. He's the president of the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce, a third-grade martial artist. Tonight." He quickly recounted the events of the night. Finally, Li Mingfang said, "No matter what, we want to figure out what Si Wuzhou's motives are. You want to know what mysterious treasure the Li family has, right?" The first elder's calm voice sounded. The faces of the upper echelons of the Li family in the room burned a little when they heard this. "That's right," Li Mingfang admitted frankly. "I want to know if the Li family really has a treasure that can interest even top-ranked experts." "Of course," the first elder replied calmly, "I believe you all know who the Li family's first ancestor was." "Of course we do. Our lineage began to flourish starting with ancestor Li Nongtang," replied Li Mingfang. "Ancestor Li Nongtang became the chancellor while in the 7th grade. He is the pride and idol of all the people in the Li family. Because of a great merit, Emperor Yu bestowed the 7 calamities will mantra to ancestor Li Nongtang. It was thanks to the 7 calamities will mantra that our Li family managed to develop to where we are today." "That's right," said the first elder calmly. "This is something that everyone knows. However, outsiders don't know, other than Emperor Yu and ancestor Li Nongtang, no one else knows that back then, Emperor Yu also bestowed something other than the 7 calamities will mantra." "What is it?" Li Mingfang was stunned. The others were also in disbelief. "Are really? There's something else? What treasure is it? An ancient spirit weapon? TSS. How come I've never heard of such a secret?" In the secret chamber, the crowd was in an uproar. As the upper echelons of Li family and the various decision-makers, they actually never knew that the Li family really had a treasure that martial artists in the top ranks would covet. "There's no need for you all to know what it is." The white-haired old man's indifferent voice sounded. The upper echelons of the Li family who were in an uproar immediately shut up and returned to silence. Among this group of people, some were indignant, some stunned, and some furious, but no one dared to question him. Not only was the Li family's first elder the oldest and most experienced, he was also the most powerful. Although he had never been the patriarch, the previous patriarch had to consult him about major matters involving the Li family before making the final decision. The first elder was the true soul of the Li family. He knew all the secrets of the family. If the patriarch had passed on, a new one could take over. But if the first elder were to suddenly die or disappear, the Li family would definitely fall into turmoil. Now, the white-haired old man definitely had his reasons for not telling them what the treasure was. Li Mingfang had to obey as well. "I've noted Si Wuzhou's motive. Ignore him." The white-haired old man's voice sounded again. "As long as I'm not dead, he won't do anything to you. This invasion is just a probe." "Yes, First Elder." Li Mingfang nodded. The image on the screen quickly turned black. A hush fell over the chamber. After a while, Li Lichuan exhaled and said, "All right, since Big Brother said it's nothing, let's disperse." Why do I feel like First Elder seems to know Si Wuzhou?" A voice suddenly sounded. Swish. 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 The others immediately turned to look at him. Don't look at me like that. Don't you guys think so?" The person who spoke was a middle-aged man with a beard. He shrank his neck and cheered himself on. "I didn't think so before, but now that I think about it carefully, Si Wuzhou led people to attack us. Putting aside the fact that the strongest Si Wuzhou didn't personally take part in the battle, even those 4th and 5th grade martial artists were more inclined to severely injure us than to kill us." Silence. Everyone fell silent again, including Li Mingfang. That's right. Now that they had calmed down, they thought back carefully. There were indeed many suspicious points. One of them was the surprise attack at night. It was not intense, and there were few casualties. If Si Wujiu was really determined to destroy the Li family, why would he hold back? The first elder's reaction was also very strange. It seemed like he had long expected Si Wujiu to come up with such a show. Enough. In the silence, Li Mingfang broke the silence and said, regardless of whether the first elder and Si Wujiu are acquainted or not, this matter ends here. Of course, the necessary precautions must also be taken. Pass down the order: before Si Wujiu leaves Qinghe City, no one is allowed to leave the manor. Yes. On the surface, Su Jingxing controlled his essence soul to hide in a corner. He was deep in thought. The Li family's first elder was a very mysterious figure. If not for the fact that the essence soul had come to listen in on the situation tonight out of curiosity, Su Jingxing wouldn't have known that the Li family had such a first elder. In seclusion for 10 years. In these 10 years, he had never appeared before anyone. But his tone sounded strange. The upper echelons of the Li family suspected that he and Si Wujiu knew each other. It was guess, instead, it was highly likely. Interesting. As he pondered, Su Jingxing couldn't help but laugh inwardly. Si Wujiu had brought a group of people to put on an act, and the Li family's first elder was also being mysterious. These two people might not only be acquainted, they might even be allies. Li Mingfang and the others suspected that Si Wujiu's motive was the Li family's treasure. The mysterious item that Emperor Yu had bestowed to Li Nongtang. But Su Jingxing's intuition told him that it wasn't that simple. Perhaps Si Wujiu was doing this for the treasure, or perhaps he was putting on a show for certain people. And the Li family's first elder was only one of these people. Alright, the more I think about this, the more complicated it's becoming. Su Jingxing shook his head and controlled the essence soul to leave. No matter what Si Wujiu's motive was, as long as it didn't cause panic or implicate the common people, it had nothing to do with Su Jingxing. With this in mind, the essence soul left the Li family estate and returned to his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. Speaking of which, Si Wujiu led his men to attack the Li family. The timing was really tight. It had only been a short after Su Jingxing solved the self-combustion issue, and he had already launched a scheme against the Li family. This fellow had clearly planned everything before the self-combustion cases surfaced. The self-combustion issue had only delayed him for a few days. Tianlong Chamber of Commerce. Si Wujiu. After muttering for a while, Su Jingxing stopped focusing on it. The next day, he went to work as usual and patrolled the crematorium. Other places could close for a few days. Not at the crematorium. Once the chaos was under control, it immediately resumed operating. Su Jingxing had an easy job. He patrolled a few times before returning to his office. The cards were extracted automatically. When he was free, he took them out and read them one by one. Essence Energy card, Internal Force card, Skill card, Strength Enhancement card. Most of the cards were common function cards. Su Jingxing didn't hold much hope. When he extracted special cards, he collected what he needed. He continued to consume strength pills to strengthen his transcendent body. The day quickly ended. At night, Su Jingxing controlled his martial art true intent to manifest and attempt all sorts of usage according to the martial sage's manuscript. In the middle of the night, he suddenly sensed a spying gaze coming from afar. Swish! The essence soul directly manifested and grabbed this invisible spying will. Heavenly secret art. A cold glint flashed across Su Jingxing's eyes. Someone was using a heavenly secret art to spy on him. Divining his existence, his location, or deducing his connection with a certain matter. No matter who this person was, now that he was discovered, he could forget about escaping. Swish! The essence soul grabbed his spying will and floated into the air, flying into the distance at lightning speed. The spying will was like a rope that connected to the other end. Through the essence soul, Su Jingxing held on to this end of the rope. As long as he followed the rope, he would be able to find the other party. The essence soul moved faster than any plane. It shuttled straight through and within a few seconds, found the target. In farm town on the periphery of the Green Cloud Mountain Range. In a building at the edge of the town. Who? In the room, a middle-aged man with half-white hair who looked to be in his 40s or 50s spurted blood and fell to the ground. What's wrong? What's wrong? Asked Kang Xiaoyu nervously as he ran over and helped the middle-aged man up. He discovered me. The middle-aged man's face was pale. He exhaled weakly and said, Not only did he discover me, he also followed the heavenly secret guide and learned about this place. What? Kang Xiaoyu was shocked. We've been discovered here. Let's leave quickly. Leave my A**s. Wan Sansi strode over and scolded irritably, Are you out of your mind? We were searching for the young general to find him. Since the young general has discovered us, wouldn't that be perfect? Wouldn't he automatically come knocking on our door? Kang Xiaoyu was stunned. After a while, he patted his head. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? We are here to find the young general in the first place. That's because you're out of your mind, commented a female voice mercilessly. I'm not going to argue with you. Kang Xiaoyu grinned. When the young general arrives, I'll complain to him. I'll say that it was your idea to get old Wu to divine him using a heavenly secret art. A pretty woman's gaze turned cold when she heard this. She said coldly, Kang Xiaoyu, do you have the guts to repeat what you just said? Sure. Do you think I'll be scared? F***ck, you'd **mn woman, you're really getting physical. Kang Xiaoyu jumped up and ran, shouting loudly. Wan Sansi, Xiao Yuanfang, and the others were speechless. After a while, Xiao Yuanfang said worriedly, will young general be angry that we're divining him like this? If it were me, I would definitely be angry, Zhou Ran said coldly. But there's nothing we can do about it, said a middle-aged man in his 40s with a sigh. Ever since the last time we met, the young general has disappeared without a trace. There's no news of his whereabouts. If we want to find him, we can only divine using heavenly secret arts. Otherwise, we have absolutely no idea of his whereabouts. Yes, said Wan Sansi in a low voice. It's expected that young general will be angry, but we have no choice but to do so. It won't be too late to ask for forgiveness when we find him. Sigh, that's the only way. Xiao Yuanfang sighed. Outside the window. When Su Jingxing heard Wan Sansi and the others' conversation through the essence soul, his true body's expression changed drastically. Young general. What did Wan Sansi and the others call him? Young general. This group of people had actually used the heavenly secret art because they wanted to find him, and they addressed him as young general. Do they want to continue their origin from hundreds of years ago and stay by side? Simply because I inherited the martial art True Intent, the Sisui Horn Dragon? After inheriting martial art True Intent, I am the successor of the Rising Dragon Saber King, Lu Chenglong? Otherwise, there was no way to explain it. Wan Sansi, Zhou Leng, Xiao Yuanfang, and the others were not ordinary people. They were second-grade experts, followed by third-grade and a bunch of fourth-grade experts. This was a powerful force that even the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce dared not easily offend. Now, they were eagerly looking for Su Jingxing, wanting to follow him. Su Jingxing wouldn't have believed it if he hadn't heard it with his own ears. This was too unbelievable. The loyalty of the Flying Lion Army was too terrifying. After more than 400 years, they still remembered Lu Chenglong. Su Jingxing had merely inherited the Sisui Horn Dragon and they planned to become his followers. What were they after? I don't get it. I really don't understand what these people are thinking. This matter is not easy to resolve either. It wasn't that Su Jingxing was being dramatic. But this involved the relationship between the Flying Lion Army and Lu Chenglong. Especially Lu Chenglong. This fellow had many enemies when he was alive. One of them, the Golden Chen family, still remembered him. If Su Jingxing took in the Flying Lion Army, it would be equivalent to standing against the Golden Chen family. This was not what Su Jingxing wanted. The Golden Chen family was too powerful. The Flying Lion Army was no match for them. Putting everything else aside, the Golden Chen family definitely had first-grade experts. On the other hand, although the Flying Lion Army had 3 second-grade and 5 third-grade martial artists, it was not enough to deal with the Chen family. Su Jingxing had to consider carefully offending the Chen family for the Flying Lion Army. Was it worth it? Of course, before that, he still had to meet Wan Sansi and the others. From their conversation, since Su Jingxing had discovered their location, if he didn't come knocking on their door, they might divine him again. Unless Su Jingxing could completely shield and isolate himself from the world. Otherwise, no matter where he was, he would be discovered. The Flying Lion Army wasn't trying to harm him, so when Su Jingxing sensed and grabbed the spying will, he couldn't come here and kill them either. He didn't want to be disturbed every time, so he had to have a discussion with them. With this in mind, Su Jingxing's body transformed into Li Jing, and he rose into the air in his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. Wrapping his body with his martial art true intent, he controlled worldly energy and flew through the air against the night wind. Soon, Su Jingxing's main body had arrived at the farm town, and his aura was slightly revealed. Swish! 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 Wan Sansi, Zhou Leng, Xiao Yuanfang, Kong Xiaoyu, and the others sensed it and immediately came out of the house to the empty space outside. The moment they saw Su Jingxing, they all half knelt on the ground and shouted. Greetings, young general. Su Jingxing moved silently, avoiding the direction where they were kneeling and bowing towards. I'm not your young general. His voice that had been altered sounded in the air. I'm here because I want to ask, what do you want from me? Reporting to young general, we divined young general because we wanted to find you. Wan Sansi answered stiffly. Young general, please punish us. Kong Xiaoyu lowered his head and said, we secretly divined you without informing you. We are guilty. Please. I told you, I'm not your young general. Su Jingxing interrupted and shouted, don't mention the young general. The Flying Lion Army doesn't have to kneel to anyone anymore. The times have changed. The Rising Dragon Saber King has already passed away for more than 400 years. You don't have to be loyal to him anymore. Besides, I was just lucky to have inherited the Sisui Horn Dragon. I'm not the successor of the Rising Dragon Saber King at all. How could I be your young general? We know. Wan Sansi became serious again. The Saber King has been dead for too long. Now that we have come to a new era, we indeed have nothing to do with him anymore. However, in this new era, we still need to survive. We need motivation and goals. And you are our chosen goal. What do you mean? Asked Su Jingxing, frowning. May I ask if you inherited the Saber King's martial art true intent because you made a deal with him? Did you swear on your soul that you will protect the Yu nation for 100 years? Asked Xiao Yuanfang quickly. Su Jingxing's eyes flashed. They know. These people actually knew about the deal between him and Lu Chenglong's remnant soul. Even though the content of the deal was slightly different. Only 10 years instead of 100 years, the contents of this oath of protection were indeed true. At this thought, Su Jingxing replied, yes. So what? Our goal is to let the Yu nation prosper for a long time. When Wan Sansi heard this, he continued excitedly, since you have inherited the Sisui Horn Dragon and have sworn to protect the Yu nation for 100 years, you fit our standards of a leader. So patriotic. After more than 400 years, they were still so loyal to their nation. It had to be known that when the Flying Lion Army went into hibernation, the U-Nation had just begun its nation building. Wan Sansi and the others did not enjoy the treatment of being loyal subjects. Of course, it wasn't that they weren't qualified to enjoy it, but that they had rejected it and chose to sleep. Now that they've recovered, they're continuing to pursue the goal from hundreds of years ago. Su Jingxing pondered. The Sisui Horned Dragon was merely a bridge. Perhaps Wan Sansi and the others were not pursuing Su Jingxing, but the Sisui Horned Dragon. At this thought, Su Jingxing said calmly, "No need. The deal I made with the Rising Dragon Saber King is between me and him. It has nothing to do with you all. If you want to protect the U-Nation, you don't have to follow me. It's better to work directly for the cabinet. Otherwise, joining the Changyang Prefecture Army wouldn't be a bad idea either. We've all considered your suggestions." Xiao Yuanfang sighed. The problem is that we don't trust the interest group in the imperial court. Working for them is said to be for the common people, but we don't even know when we become tools for them. It's the same for joining the Changyang Prefecture Army. The Changyang Prefecture Army is not an independent army. It still belongs to the military and is under the command of the Supreme Marshal, impeded by the cabinet. Once the order is given, we have to obey it even if we don't want to. Back then, we chose to go into a deep sleep because we didn't want to get involved in too many other matters. All we wanted was to live our best life. To put it bluntly, they didn't want to be restrained. Even if they followed Su Jingxing, they would still have to follow his orders. But what was Su Jingxing's strength? And what were the capabilities of the Changyang Prefecture Army and the cabinet? Su Jingxing, a third-grade martial artist, could not completely control them. When that time came, if they really wanted to find something to do, it would most likely be a discussion between them. Following Su Jingxing was more to get close to the Sisui Horned Dragon. They were extraordinarily loyal to Lu Chenglong. It was unknown what Lu Chenglong had done back then that made Wan Sansi and the others willing to remain loyal even after so many years. Saved their lives. Nurtured them. No matter what kind of favor it was, Wan Sansi and the others wanted to become Su Jingxing's followers mainly to get in touch with the Sisui Horned Dragon. Previously, he couldn't confirm it, but now, Su Jingxing was certain. With this in mind, all the more Su Jingxing would not agree. "I understand what you mean." Su Jingxing said coolly, "According to what you seek, the best way is to make your own decisions and not follow others. Of course, we can cooperate. If there's a need, we can make a deal." This. Wan Sansi, Xiao Yuanfang, and the others looked at one another. They were stunned and taken aback by Su Jingxing's proposal. Wouldn't he be tempted to take in the Flying Lion Army? Where were they not welcomed? But Su Jingxing actually rejected them. He didn't want these benefits that came knocking on his door. Were they too impatient? Or? Yes, that's for the best. In the silence, Su Jingxing continued, emphasizing his words. "You guys are a team to begin with. The Flying Lion Army in the past, now, it's best to change your name. For example, Flying Fish? How does the Flying Fish organization sound?" Su Jingxing was interested and suggested, "Flying Fish, implying your hopes for the U-Nation to take off and prosper. As for the division of positions in the organization, you can decide for yourselves. In the future, if I have any needs, I can make deals with Flying Fish. For example, in terms of money, internet technology support, and so on." Well, Xiao Yuanfang opened his mouth, but closed it in the end. Let's not talk about anything else for now," said Kong Xiaoyu. "I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Kong Xiaoyu, and this is Kong Xiaoting and Kong Xiaoxiang. They're both my elder brothers. This beauty is Duan Si, big sister Duan. Lastly, this is Ma Feng, old Ma. Your surname is Li, right?" Yes, said Su Jingxing coolly. I'm Li Jing. Brother Li then. Kong Xiaoyu gave him a thumbs up. We will seriously consider Brother Li's suggestion. If possible, we can change our name to Flying Fish. But can you give us your contact details? You already said that even though we can't be companions, we can still be cooperating partners. Of course. Su Jingxing nodded and gave his anonymous number. Then, he bade farewell and said, that's all for now. If you need anything, you can contact me. Hold on. Wan Sansi stopped him. There's something I would like to ask. Did the general say anything during your transaction with him? Other than the contents of the deal, nothing else, replied Su Jingxing. Is that so? Murmured Wan Sansi. If there's nothing else, I'll get going. Su Jingxing had no intention of stopping. He turned around and prepared to leave. Just then, Xiao Yuanfang received a call. He picked up. After listening for a while, he exclaimed, impossible. How is it possible that there are still living blood-seeker beasts around? Duh. Su Jingxing stopped in his tracks and turned to look at Xiao Yuanfang. Wan Sansi, Kong Xiaoyu, Zhou Leng, and the others also looked at him. Xiao Yuanfang's expression kept changing, and his eyes flickered. All right, I understand. We'll set off immediately. With that, he hung up the call and quickly said to everyone, it's a call from the Changyang Prefecture Army. They got a photo of a blood-seeker beast when doing aerial photography over the Green Cloud Mountain. That blood-seeker beast was killing a ferocious tiger and drinking its blood. This can't be a mistake, can it? Kong Xiaoyu waved his hand and said in surprise, the blood-seeker beasts are clearly dead. During the encirclement, although some managed to escape, they were eventually caught and killed. The blood-seeker essence energy that leaked out was stored in special containers and sealed. Were the seals or the containers broken? Did someone deliberately do this? No, Xiao Yuanfang shook his head. Nothing happened to the sealed containers. They are still at the secret location. Didn't you guys put them back in the valley and seal them together? Su Jingxing interrupted at this point. At the beginning, only a few blood-seeker beasts escaped from the underground palace. Even if they turned into blood-seeker essence energy, and were absorbed by the other blood-seeker beasts, it wouldn't be enough to turn them into beast kings. No, Xiao Yuanfang shook his head. General Zhao said that the blood elemental essence energy of a few blood elemental essence energy can be controlled. There aren't many people who know about the existence of the blood elemental essence energy too. As long as we don't say anything, no one will know that the blood elemental essence energy still remains in this world. Heh. Su Jingxing chuckled and said nothing more. It seems like Zhao Fengxian is scheming too. The blood-seeker essence energy of a few blood-seeker beasts could indeed be controlled and easily dispersed. However, even if there was only one of them, there would be endless repercussions. Su Jingxing even suspected that Zhao Fengxian had been invaded and brainwashed by the blood-seeker essence energy. He actually left behind blood-seeker essence energy and sealed it away. Is the problem here about the seal? Ahem. Xiao Yuanfang was also a little embarrassed. It has already happened. The most important thing now is to find this blood-seeker beast first. The Changyang Prefecture Army hopes that we can lend a helping hand. We will immediately enter the mountain to search for the beast. At the very least, we must stop it from leaving Green Cloud Mountain. Of course we have to help. Wan Sansi nodded. Pass down the order. Everyone except those who are injured, gather immediately and head to Green Cloud Mountain. Yes, the burly man named Ma Feng replied in a deep voice. With that, he turned around to deliver the order. Previously, the Flying Lion Army had been ambushed by Ghost Ride. Although no one died, many of them were injured. Those who could be mobilized naturally excluded the injured. I'll come too. Seeing this, Su Jingxing shouted, getting rid of the blood demons. Count me in. Alright, let's go together. Kong Xiaoyu's eyes lit up with joy. Su Jingxing was a third-grade martial artist, after all. If he could join them, the chances of finding the Bloodseeker beast would increase. After all, the Green Cloud Mountain range was so big. It would take an unknown amount of time with them and the Changyang Prefecture army. Of course, with the help of modern equipment, drones and helicopters had been flying in the sky. As long as the Bloodseeker beast showed up, it would not be able to escape. This time, it was discovered because it was unintentionally captured on an aerial shot. As for the aerial photography over the Green Cloud Mountain range, it was the Changyang Prefecture army's follow-up, just in case they missed anything or something unexpected had happened. It turned out that they really got a shot of a Bloodseeker beast. The Changyang Prefecture army had asked Xiao Yuanfang to bring men to help. The location in this photo was also sent over. Su Jingxing moved with them. Their first destination was this location. With the discovery point as the center, they searched inch by inch for the Bloodseeker beast. Even if it was night, they had to get there first. At dawn, everyone entered the mountain and spread out to search for the Bloodseeker beast. Su Jingxing transformed into Li Jing and flew in the air. The blood doppelganger curled up into a ball and shuttled through the woods. If Su Jingxing were to discover this Bloodseeker beast that had escaped the net first, his blood doppelganger would directly devour it. The Bloodseeker beast's Bloodseeker essence energy and the card extracted when it was killed were all good stuff. Therefore, Su Jingxing's main body and doppelganger had both come to Green Cloud Mountain. There were 70 to 80 members from the Flying Lion Army and a few hundred troops from the Changyang Prefecture Army. Together with the drones and helicopters flying in the sky, the large team launched a search. The usual silence of the Green Cloud Mountain range was broken at this moment. As Su Jingxing searched, he couldn't help but think of the big white goose and the giant silver-winged wolf. If the two of them were discovered, another battle would inevitably ensue. All the major factions wanted to capture and tame mutated beasts. If one was too savage and unyielding, they would be killed. Although the big white goose and the giant silver-winged wolf listened to Su Jingxing and did not harm humans. That was under the circumstances of taking the initiative. If the prefecture army made the first move, the giant silver-winged wolf would naturally counterattack. This counterattack would result in casualties. If there were casualties, things would get troublesome. At this thought, Su Jingxing headed straight for the big white goose's valley. The blood doppelganger headed for the location of worldly energy where the giant silver-winged wolf was. Su Jingxing had been to the latter once, and the giant silver-winged wolf's lair was right there. The main body and doppelganger moved at their fastest speeds. The big white goose's valley was the closest. After Su Jingxing arrived, he looked down at the valley from high above and checked the situation. Fortunately, nothing unusual happened in the valley. It was as beautiful and peaceful as ever. The big white goose did not appear. He didn't know where it had gone either. Su Jingxing cruised around and didn't spot any problems. He quickly turned around and flew towards the giant silver-winged wolf's territory. The giant silver-winged wolf lived in a call. The entrance was filled with sharp vines and ancient trees that towered into the sky. The wide branches and leaves covered most of the area. Looking down from the sky, one could not see most of the interior. After the blood doppelganger arrived, it descended from the sky and entered the kernel. Before it could patrol the area, it noticed something amiss. What a coincidence! In a corner of the call, under a dozen tall ancient trees, a blood-colored massive beast was confronting a giant wolf with wings. The latter was none other than the giant silver-winged wolf. And the one confronting it was the Bloodseeker beast. This Bloodseeker beast had actually escaped from the valley and hid here until now. Good fellow. Su Jingxing didn't know how much blood energy it had absorbed. Its entire body was only half a step away from that of a beast king. Now that it was confronting the giant silver-winged wolf, it was obvious that it had its eyes on the wolf's physical body. The flesh and blood of mutated beasts were several times stronger than that of ordinary beasts. If the Bloodseeker beast really killed the giant silver-winged wolf and absorbed its blood energy, it would definitely advance to a beast king. For this reason, Su Jingxing had arrived just in time. Roar! With a roar, the giant silver-winged wolf attacked first. Swoosh! The Bloodseeker beast was even faster and pounced from the side. Swish! Plkch. 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 Blood splattered as a muffled groan sounded. The giant silver-winged wolf was defeated in the first round. It was suppressed and attacked by the Bloodseeker beast, and its body was soon covered in wounds. Strands of wolf blood flowed out from the wounds. Before they even dripped onto the ground, they were absorbed by the Bloodseeker beast from a distance, making it even stronger. Buzz! A surge in the air scattered the wolf blood and destroyed the Bloodseeker beast's plan. The blood doppelganger transformed back into human form. As soon as its tall body appeared, it locked onto the Bloodseeker beast. With pure brute force, it landed a punch that caught the Bloodseeker beast off guard. Its entire body flew out from the side and crashed into the ground, rolling 3 times. Whoosh! Moving, the blood doppelganger dashed forward at high speed and arrived beside the Bloodseeker beast. Before the beast could stand up, it continued to punch. Each punch was more ferocious than the last, yet they did not land on the same spot. It would not kill the Bloodseeker beast. It only crippled it. However, the Bloodseeker beast's resistance was shocking. Su Jingxing controlled his blood doppelganger and enjoyed the fight. Bang! With a dull thud, the Bloodseeker beast exploded without warning. It turned into a ball of Bloodseeker essence energy that dispersed and floated in the air. If it were anyone else, they would have confirmed that the Bloodseeker beast was dead. To revive it, a large amount of blood energy would be required. However, Su Jingxing's soul power was powerful, and his perception locked onto these masses of Bloodseeker essence energy. He realized that they were moving consciously. They spread out to the sides, and the direction of the flow was clearly presented. This scene undoubtedly told Su Jingxing that the beast wanted to escape. Now that it has turned into Bloodseeker essence energy, it still wants to escape. And is able to do so. When did the Bloodseeker essence energy become so powerful? Or is this Bloodseeker beast special? It already possessed the ability to leave its body and live on its consciousness. If this is true, is it still a Bloodseeker beast? Is this kind of Bloodseeker beast something that ordinary people can handle? Shocked, Su Jingxing did not stop what he was doing. The blood doppelganger released a large amount of blood energy to wrap around the escaping blood doppelganger and gather them together. Then, it put it into its body. "Huh, you're courting death." A hoarse, dry sound which sounded like gears that had been rusted for countless years beginning to turn again resounded in his mind. The Bloodseeker essence energy that was drawn into the blood doppelganger's body was immediately suppressed by its power. Then, it was dissolved and absorbed. But in Su Jingxing's sea of consciousness, a semi-transparent figure forced its way in and revealed itself. It was a thin man with long hair that fell to his shoulders. His facial features could not be seen clearly, but one could vaguely tell that he was an old man in his 70s or 80s. As soon as he appeared, he released a powerful will to scan Su Jingxing's sea of consciousness. At the same time, he shouted coldly, "Not bad. Although you interrupted my plan, completing the possession a few years in advance doesn't matter. This body. What's wrong with your body? Why isn't it made of flesh and blood? Energy body. Pure energy body. How is that possible? Who are you? No, what are you?" At the end, he was almost shouting. The voice sounded in his sea of consciousness, pushing deeper. Constantly. Distortions, shock, and astonishment could be seen on his blurry face. "And what are you?" Su Jingxing controlled the essence soul to slowly stand up in his sea of consciousness. "Impossible." As soon as the essence soul appeared, the figure's screams became shrill. "No, no, no. How can you have an essence soul? How could you have condensed an essence soul? Who are you? Who exactly are you? The martial sage of the Unation?" "No, no, it's impossible for a martial sage to be so young." "Who are you? Who exactly are you?" The figure was terrified, shouting, and screaming. Its semi-transparent body kept retreating. However, this was Su Jingxing's sea of consciousness. No matter where he retreated, it was equivalent to staying in the same spot. On the other hand, Su Jingxing was slightly surprised when he heard his words. "A martial sage? You mean a martial sage? The essence soul is the symbol of a martial sage. Who are you? Who exactly are you?" The figure didn't answer, and only continued to question with shock, fear, and madness. "Tell me who you are first." Su Jingxing chuckled. "How could this be? How could this be? How could this be?" The figure still did not answer and muttered to himself. "Hey, I'm asking you a question," Su Jingxing chided softly. "Ah." As the figure went berserk, ripples appeared on his semi-transparent soul body. "No matter who you are, it won't be easy for you to kill me. You shall die with me." Accompanied by a roar, the figure suddenly pounced towards Su Jingxing's essence soul. Swish! The illusion of a red full moon appeared almost instantly and descended into his sea of consciousness. Danger! As the crimson moon descended, Su Jingxing's essence soul instinctively sensed a terrifying danger. Without any hesitation, he immediately condensed the heaven-trampling elephant and released the Sisui horned dragon to work together with the heaven origin saber in the essence soul's grip. Swoosh! 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 First, the heaven origin saber was released to attack the crimson moon. Then, the heaven-trampling elephant faced the figure, raised its front legs, and stomped down. The Sisui horned dragon circled around to the back of the crimson moon. When the heaven origin saber struck the crimson moon, causing it to sway, it immediately wrapped itself around it. This process happened in the blink of an eye. The figure that had rushed in front of the essence soul was first struck by the heaven-trampling elephant's leg, and then it lost the crimson moon. Its semi-transparent body swayed and became extremely unstable. "Take his life while he's down." Su Jingxing controlled the essence soul to quickly condense the heaven origin saber and rain down attacks in all directions. The figure roared as fluctuations appeared on its semi-transparent body, blocking most of the heaven origin saber. Then, from his blurry features, the two eyes suddenly shot out beams of light that shot towards the essence soul. It was too fast, and the essence soul was unable to dodge for a moment. Fortunately, the massive body of the heaven-trampling elephant stood between them and bore the attack. Roar! With a long roar, the massive body of the heaven-trampling elephant quickly turned translucent, almost disintegrating. The might of the figure's attack was obvious. Even after the two beams passed, Su Jingxing immediately sensed that his semi-transparent body had weakened by more than half. However, such a soul attack was still terrifying and coveting. Su Jingxing was tempted. The translucent body of the heaven-trampling elephant decisively and fiercely charged forward. The essence soul followed behind him and condensed the heaven origin saber. Half of it was released from a distance while the other half was augmented together to form a saber in its hand. Roar! With a long roar, the heaven-trampling elephant's trunk swept out at high speed, sweeping across the figure and sending it flying. Before he could stabilize himself, he was struck by the heaven origin saber that was flying over. His semi-transparent body swayed again, and the fluctuations became more intense and while the body turned weaker. Bang! With a dull thud, the heaven-trampling elephant caught up again. It stomped heavily on the figure that had collapsed in midair without any ability to fight back. The semi-transparent body also lost its ability to resist, leaving only weak pleas for mercy. Don't kill me. I'm useful, I'm very useful to you. You're a newly born essence soul, right? I'm. Swish. As the heaven origin saber streaked across, the semi-transparent body was separated from his head. His entire body immediately turned into pure soul power that floated in his sea of consciousness. Incomplete essence soul corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. He first extracted the card in surprise. Then, with no time to see what card it was, Jingxing controlled the essence soul to try and absorb the ownerless soul power floating in his sea of consciousness. During this attempt, he discovered that most of the soul power had mysteriously disappeared. The remaining half was mixed with some memory fragments that were successfully captured by the essence soul and quickly absorbed and digested. The moment everything was digested, Jingxing's expression became especially interesting. Even the essence soul's face twitched. Yu Donglu. The figure that had invaded his consciousness was the Crimson Moon martial sage from 1,000 years ago, Yu Donglu. Jingxing's previous guess was right. Yu Donglu wasn't dead. His physical body was destroyed, but his essence soul remained. Of course, not entirely, only about a third. It was an incomplete essence soul. Even so, Yu Donglu was still very powerful. Jingxing had the Sisui horned dragon, the heaven trampling elephant, and a complete essence soul. The heaven origin saber he condensed wasn't weak either. Had it been anyone else, even if they were in the first grade, their consciousness would have been devoured by Yu Donglu and to possess and be reborn. That's right. From the very beginning, Yu Donglu had used some unknown method to reside in the body of a blood-seeker beast and devoured its consciousness. His goal was to possess a body and be reborn. Because the memories he absorbed were incomplete, Jingxing only knew that Yu Donglu was unwilling to die just like that. Before his lifespan was up, he had separated his essence soul. But possession and rebirth were not that easy. The reason why he resided in a blood-seeker beast was because they had very special structures. Yu Donglu was very envious of their immortality in theory. The reason why he used a blood-seeker beast as a host was to obtain this ability. Therefore, he somehow found a way to seal the blood-seeker beasts underground with a secret art. Jingxing didn't know where he got the blood-seeker beasts either. It wasn't in the memories. In short, the 1,000 blood-seeker beasts were Yu Donglu's test subjects. If one didn't work, he would switch to another. The freezing seal was also one of the steps. And just in case, to see the light of day again, he deliberately spread the news of the martial sage's legacy. Including the martial sage's manuscript and the 3 legacy stone tablets, everything had been premeditated and were all part of his plan. After all, if no one broke the seal after he successfully resided in a blood-seeker beast, he would have to be sealed underground forever. That would be awkward. As for how to find someone to possess and be reborn after using a blood-seeker beast to escape, Jingxing was unaware because he did not absorb the relevant memories. However, Jingxing was very lucky to have absorbed the information regarding the essence soul. Just as he had guessed, the essence soul was the symbol of a martial sage. From the late stages of the first grade, if one fused his physical body, soul, and true essence into one, under the catalysis of martial art true intent, one could condense a divine embryo. The divine embryo was hatched using soul power. If it was successfully born, not only would there be a qualitative change in the physical body's life level, it would also increase one's lifespan by 240 years. He would also own an essence soul. Essence soul, a brand new cultivation foundation. In this realm, one would begin with the void soul, then the soul fixation and finally, soul formation. Void soul, soul fixation, soul formation. Once the final step was completed, the essence soul would turn into a primordial spirit. The essence soul still needed a physical body to reside in, but if the final step was completed and a primordial spirit was achieved, the physical body could be abandoned. This was because the primordial spirit could reconstruct the physical body. In the legends of Earth Star, immortals were in this realm. After achieving the primordial spirit, one would no longer be bound by the stars. He could leave the planet and roam the boundless starry sky. The essence soul could not do that. Although an essence soul could ignore gravity, it could not break through the astral winds of the 9 heavens. This was especially true for newly born essence souls, which was in the void soul state. It could not withstand the roasting of the sun, the impact of the extreme yin and yang baneful aura, or the hacking of the void divine thunder. There were also several other taboos that would destroy the essence soul in the void soul state. In the soul fixation state, things were different. Other than the few taboos like the void divine thunder, the roasting of the sun, the astral winds of the 9 heavens, extreme yin-yang, and so on could be ignored. As for soul formation, it was mainly a transition stage to the primordial spirit. At this stage, soul power was the strongest and most abundant. If one could make it through this, he would reach the heavens in a single bound and achieve a primordial spirit. Otherwise, his soul would dissipate, and not even his martial art true intent would remain. Every breakthrough in these 3 minor realms was extremely difficult. Take Yu Donglu, the Crimson Moon martial sage, for example. Before his 360 years were up, he was still in the void soul realm. The reason for this was because he did not have any soul skills related to the essence soul. In other words, cultivation techniques, essence soul cultivation, and martial arts before that were completely useless. The true essence soul cultivation techniques were collectively called soul skills. Including the heaven origin saber, it could not be considered a soul skill. On the other hand, the full moon breathing technique could be considered one. It could absorb the essence of the moon and strengthen one's soul power. The second reason was that Yu Donglu was not a kingdom-defending martial sage. The martial sage from the previous dynasty 1,000 years ago was another transcendent grade expert. Although Yu Donglu was also a martial sage, he was no match for him. That was because the kingdom-defending martial sage had the Jade Seal, the kingdom-defending Jade Seal. Every dynasty's kingdom-defending Jade Seal was a soul weapon, a special treasure. Only with the kingdom-defending Jade Seal could the essence soul be like a fish in water in the void world. The void world. The mysterious space that Su Jingxing's essence soul had entered while chasing the ostrich creature previously was a part of it. Back then, the Unation territory that Su Jingxing had seen through essence soul was actually the corresponding Unation in the void world. This was difficult to understand. Simply put, the void world was like a piece of paper. It traveled through other dimensions and could invade various worlds and planets. The void world had existed since ancient times. It was like a piece of paper. Once it invaded a world, it would overlap with it. Then, while bringing all kinds of convenience and opportunities, it also brought terrifying monsters and strange existences. That's right, the void world was also like a passageway. After connecting to 2 worlds, the living beings of these 2 worlds could use this passage to enter each other's worlds. Just like the ostrich creature that Su Jingxing had killed. The void world had existed for countless years, and no one knew how many worlds it had invaded. At the very least, Yu Donglu didn't know, and neither did anyone on Earth Star since ancient times. In any case, there were very few records about the void world. He only knew that the void world had come to Earth Star a long, long time ago. Although the void world had invaded, in ancient times, the experts on Earth Star had used an unknown method to cut off the paths of the outside world. They severed the connection with other worlds. The existing monsters were all left behind from ancient times. This was because Earth Star was very big, and the area where the void world overlapped with it was very wide. It was enough for the monsters from other worlds to survive. In fact, those strange existences that lived in the void world to begin with naturally lasted. Only a nation where a martial sage held the kingdom-defending Jade Seal could drive away monsters and kill strange creatures. This was also the origin of the title of the kingdom-defending martial sage. Without the protection of a martial sage, the monsters and strange creatures hidden in the darkness of the void world would pass through the membrane and enter the nation, triggering all kinds of disasters. The previous self-combustion issue originated from the ostrich creature. At this point, Su Jingxing came to a sudden realization and was shocked. Without the protection of the martial sage, the monsters in the void world would enter the nation. Doesn't this mean that something has happened to the martial sage of the U-nation? If nothing had happened, why would the ostrich creature release a large number of strange lifeforms to make people self-combust? Had Su Jingxing not accidentally nurtured an essence soul using a divine defense card, chased the ostrich creature into the U-nation's void world and killed it, countless more people would have died. Has something happened to the martial sage? Su Jingxing's scalp went numb. After learning the importance of the martial sage, Su Jingxing's heart turned cold at once. If something had really happened to the martial sage, the U-nation would be finished. Although he did not know how many strange monsters there were in the darkness of the void world, they had never been cut off over so many years. Su Jingxing could kill an ostrich creature using his essence soul. But what if there were 10, 20, 50, or 100 of them? Could Su Jingxing still resolve the problem? And this was only an ostrich creature. What if it were another even more terrifying monster or strange existence? Could Su Jingxing still resolve the problem? No. It wasn't that Su Jingxing was belittling himself, but he knew his limits. Currently, the only offensive and defensive means of his essence soul was the Heaven Origin Saber. The problem was that the Heaven Origin Saber could not be considered a soul skill and had limited lethality. He was lucky that he was able to take care of the ostrich creature the last time. He might not be so lucky with other monsters and strange existences. Unless Su Jingxing obtained the kingdom-defending Jade Seal. The kingdom-defending Jade Seal was a special treasure that was classified as a soul weapon. A weapon that could only be controlled by an essence soul. With it, he could shrink the U-nation's void world territory to inches and mobilize the U-nation's fate to protect himself. He could also take a wisp of the nation's mental will and kill his target through the Jade Seal. This target could be someone from an enemy nation, or a monster from the void world. The only exception was it could not be a citizen of the U-nation. For this reason, the stronger the dynasty, the more citizens there were, the stronger the strength of the kingdom-defending martial sage. When the kingdom-defending martial sage became powerful, he could not only stop the monsters in the void world, but also suppress the criminal organizations and evil forces in the country. Even though he could not kill the citizens using the kingdom-defending Jade Seal, he could still suppress them by directly targeting their souls using the power of his essence soul even without soul skills. Once the suppression of the martial art true intent was triggered, all martial artists in the middle and lower ranks would have to kneel. The same went for essence souls. Once activated, even an expert in the top ranks could be easily suppressed. This had nothing to do with true essence, martial arts, or the physical body, it was purely a suppression of the soul. Therefore, if there were no other factors interfering, the dynasty and the martial sage would form a good cycle. With mutual help, they would become stronger individually. But things are never perfect. Putting everything else aside, just the fact that the lifespan of a martial sage was limited to 360 years was a problem. Condense a divine embryo and hatch an essence soul. No matter how talented a martial artist was, they would be at least 70 to 80 years old when they reached this realm. Even if they were only 60 years old, a martial sage would only guard the dynasty for 300 years at most. In these 300 years, if no second martial sage was born, the dynasty would face a catastrophe when the current martial sage passes away. The strange invasion of the monsters in the void realm. Su Jing took a shortcut and accidentally extracted the divine defense card. He obtained an essence soul through the divine defense card. His pace was too fast. It would be too much to say that he had reached the peak in a single bound. In some ways, Su Jingxing was now in the transcendent grade, which also made him a martial sage. However, his physical body had not undergone a life-level transformation. Although he had a transcendent body, his lifespan did not increase. Therefore, Su Jingxing could not confirm whether he was a martial sage or not, nor could he be bothered to think about it. He was still young. It was too early to talk about his lifespan. How to stimulate the essence soul and release suppression that targeted the soul. Coincidentally, Su Jingxing happened to have absorbed the memories in this aspect. Strictly speaking, this ability to stimulate one's essence soul and form a terrifying suppression was considered a soul skill. It was a natural soul skill that every martial sage possessed. Of course, Su Jingxing had no time to try it now. He had to verify that something might have happened to the martial sage of the Unation. His essence soul left his sea of consciousness. In its illusory state, it ignored the gravity and floated through the air, charging into the sky. At the intersection of the overlapping of the void world and Earth star, there was a transparent glass belt known as the border membrane. As long as the essence soul focused, it would be able to sense it and see it. Finally, it would expend soul power to pass through the border membrane and enter the Unation's territory in the void world. The second time he entered this mysterious space, Su Jingxing controlled his essence soul to move quickly to search for the Unation's martial sage. He first headed west until he reached the edge of the darkness. Then, he headed south and similarly arrived at the edge of the darkness. Further to the east, it shuttled all the way. Finally, at the northeast corner, near the edge of the darkness, Su Jingxing saw a figure with his back facing him, motionless. Unation's martial sage. The last time he entered the void world, Su Jingxing had never been to the northeast side. This time, in his search, he had spotted this figure. If he was not mistaken, this person was the martial sage of the Unation. It was good news that the martial sage was fine. Su Jingxing looked at the martial sage from afar and had no intention of greeting him. Firstly, there was also a conflict between martial sages. Especially the martial sages from the enemy countries, they all wanted to kill one another. Even martial sages from the same country shared good and bad relationships. The martial sages who held the kingdom defending Jade Seal were usually the strongest. If they wanted to rob, Su Jingxing could only choose to escape. Secondly, Su Jingxing was unprepared. His essence soul had come too easily and effortlessly. If any abnormality was discovered by the martial sage of the Unation, who knew what he would think? Finally, Su Jingxing did not know the character of the Unation's martial sage. To be safe, it was better for them to not meet. With this in mind, Su Jingxing controlled his essence soul to penetrate the border membrane and return to the surface. The martial sage of the Unation was fine. He was most likely delayed by something during the ostrich creature's invasion. How many days had he been away? Without much thought, Su Jingxing returned his essence soul to his physical body's sea of consciousness. He continued to absorb Yudonglio's memory fragments, trying to find some information about ultimate secret arts. Unfortunately, other than the complete full moon breathing technique, the other ultimate techniques and secret arts only took up a small portion. Some of them even only had a few segments and a few lines of descriptions. Such mental cultivation techniques and secret arts could not be deduced even with the deduction card. Deduction cards and deducing secret martial arts skills were built on orderly and basic martial arts knowledge. In other words, one had to at least have a set of past theories that were logical. Without any theories, how could the deduction be done? Fortunately, Su Jingxing had obtained the complete full moon breathing technique. No, to be precise, it was the genuine version of the full moon breathing technique. The full moon breathing technique he had obtained from the legacy stone tablet was also complete. However, Yu Donglu had tampered with it and turned it into a pirated version. Leaving behind 3 legacy stone tablets was Yu Donglio's deliberate plan. The information imprinted on the stone tablets, the military manual, the secret heavenly art, and the full moon breathing technique had all been tampered with. This was such that once one cultivated them, Yu Donglu would sense it. Take for example, the full moon breathing technique. If Su Jingxing cultivated it, the blood-seeker beast that Yu Donglu resided in, or after he successfully possessed a human body, he would be able to sense Su Jingxing's location even from thousands of miles away. Furthermore, once he successfully cultivated the full moon breathing technique, Yu Donglu could still silently influence Su Jingxing through the secret door he left behind, change his behavior, and do some unconscious things. Of course, most importantly, if Su Jingxing really cultivated the full moon breathing technique and made achievements, then Su Jingxing would be Yu Donglio's best target to possess. All of this was part of Yu Donglio's plans. However, the genuine version of the full moon breathing technique that Su Jingxing read from his fading memories, he did not find these drawbacks. Su Jingxing carefully comprehended the real full moon breathing technique and realized that after cultivating this special martial art, not only could it increase one's soul power, strengthen one's essence soul, one could also condense a moon shield. Just like when Yu Donglu attacked Su Jingxing earlier, the red full moon that suddenly appeared was the moon shield. The moon shield could both defend the essence soul and provide soul power. That's right, the moon shield was also equivalent to a storage device that could store soul power. According to Yu Donglio's philosophy, when the full moon breathing technique was cultivated to the extreme, one could continue to make a breakthrough and it would become a true soul skill. Once it became a true soul skill, the condensed moon shield would be the soul space bag. The meaning of the soul space bag could be inferred from its name. It would be a lie to say that Su Jingxing wasn't surprised. Yu Donglu couldn't make another breakthrough with the full moon breathing technique. But he could. As long as he had a deduction card, he could deduce a higher level of the full moon breathing technique. To put it bluntly, be it the full moon breathing technique or the heaven origin saber, they were both semi-soul skills. Any changes a step further in these mental martial arts would make them true soul skills. Deduction card. In an instant, the function card that Su Jingxing wanted the most was the deduction card. Oh right, when Yu Donglio's incomplete essence soul died, he had extracted a card. He still didn't know what it was. Su Jingxing immediately opened his palm space and took out the card. Holding it in his palm, he read the information. A skill card. The card extracted from Yu Donglio's incomplete essence soul corpse was actually a skill card. Sword Eyes. It was a soul-type offensive ultimate technique. Su Jingxing quickly comprehended it and realized that this ultimate technique was also a semi-soul skill, but its lethality was several times stronger than that of the heaven origin saber. As the name suggested, this was a unique skill related to the eyes. Of course, it did not refer to the naked eye, but the essence soul's eyes. Yu Donglu had just used this ultimate technique when he attacked Su Jingxing earlier. With just a glance, it almost disintegrated the heaven-trampling elephant. And this was when Yu Donglu only had a third of his essence soul left. If Yu Donglio's essence soul had been in a complete state back then, he could have destroyed the heaven-trampling elephant with a single glance and killed Su Jingxing while he was at it. This ultimate technique came at the perfect time. Su Jingxing comprehended it carefully, unable to conceal the joy on his face. He was in need of a soul attack method, so gaining the sword eyes had temporarily supplemented that. He was in no hurry to cultivate it. After a while, Su Jingxing regained his composure and put away everything. His blood doppelganger had just finished absorbing the blood-seeker essence energy and completely resolved the danger. Ooh. On the side, the giant silver-winged wolf's upper body was sprawled on the ground. It adopted a defensive posture and stared nervously at the blood doppelganger. You don't recognize me anymore? Seeing this, Su Jingxing couldn't help but be surprised. Then he reacted and said with a smile, I almost forgot that you really don't know this body. Forget it, it's fine if you don't. In short, stay here and don't go anywhere for the next few days. With that, he leaped into the sky. The giant silver-winged wolf was left staring at the disappearing blood doppelganger with wide eyes, its gaze filled with confusion. "Huh? This fellow knows me?" The giant silver-winged wolf was puzzled. As soon as the blood doppelganger left, it turned back into a lump, shrunk to the size of an egg, and stored it in the palm space. Su Jingxing's main body did not go to see the giant silver-winged wolf. Instead, he returned the way he came and found Wan Sansi, Xiao Yuanfang, and the others. "What? The Bloodseeker beast has been dealt with?" Kong Xiaoyu's eyes were wide. "Who dealt with it? Where is the Bloodseeker essence energy? That thing is not simple. If it isn't dealt with properly, there will be endless trouble in the future. It was taken care of by a man who was more than 2 meters tall, had long hair that fell to his shoulders, and had extremely dense blood energy." Without blinking, Su Jingxing explained, "The other party is very strong. I heard the commotion and rushed over to check. I found that the other party had just finished off the Bloodseeker beast and refined the Bloodseeker essence energy. It's him." Xiao Yuanfang's expression changed as he blurted out. "Who is he?" asked Su Jingxing cooperatively. "Beast Refining Blood King." With a grim expression, Wan Sansi said in surprise, "I didn't expect him to have come as well. He even refined the Bloodseeker beast before all of us once again. Beast Refining Blood King. Again." Su Jingxing resisted the urge to twitch the corners of his mouth and asked curiously, "Who is this Beast Refining Blood King?" Before the Bloodseeker beasts were refined, no one knew who he was. Xiao Yuanfang took a deep breath and explained, "Brotherly, you should remember that we worked together to intercept the Bloodseeker beasts and sealed them in the valley in the center of Green Cloud Mountain Range, right?" "I do." Su Jingxing nodded. "It was right there. Not long ago, all of the Bloodseeker beasts were refined." Xiao Yuanfang said in a low voice, "We don't know where this Beast Refining Blood King came from. He sneaked into the 9 Lotus 8 trigrams array silently and killed all 1,000 Bloodseeker beasts in the valley. He also refined all the blood elemental essence energy that they dissipated into. We don't know his name, so we called him the Beast Refining Blood King. Heh, this Blood King even sent a first-grade expert from Ghost Ride flying with a punch," added Kong Xiaoyu. "Impressive," Su Jingxing sighed. "It's more than impressive. He's an amazing person." Kong Xiaoyu clicked his tongue and sighed. The refinement method of the Bloodseeker essence energy has been lost for a long time, but the other party knew it. His background is clearly not simple. He's either from a large sect or an ancient martial arts family that has existed for more than 1,000 years. Of course, there's another possibility. That is, this Beast Refining Blood King was a lucky B***starred and picked up a secret technique to refine the Bloodseeker essence energy. You are the lucky B***starred. Su Jingxing laughed inwardly. On the surface, he remained calm and collected. Even his aura did not change. "No matter what, we can put this matter behind us now that the Bloodseeker beast has been dealt with." Su Jingxing sighed. "That's true." Xiao Yuanfang nodded. "I'll send a message to the prefecture army to inform them that they can stop the search. It's time for me to leave too." Su Jingxing slowly rose into the air. "Everyone, remember to contact me if you need anything. Farewell. Farewell. Goodbye, goodbye." Wan Sansi, Kong Xiaoyu, and the others all bade farewell to him. He was on his way back to his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. As usual, Su Jingxing sensed behind himself to avoid being followed. After confirming that no one was following him, he descended to the back mountain and returned to his small courtyard. After entering the house and taking a short break, Su Jingxing took out the skill card that contained the sword eyes. He unlocked it and absorbed it directly. In an instant, he memorized all the cultivation methods and uses of the sword eyes. Su Jingxing manifested the essence soul and cultivated this lethal semi-soul skill through it. Without the martial arts practice card, Su Jingxing had to rely on himself to comprehend it. For 3 consecutive days, he stayed in his room and cultivated the sword eyes. Compared to the full moon breathing technique, sword eyes was even more difficult to cultivate. After 3 days, Su Jingxing had just reached the threshold of the introductory stage. Since he couldn't even reach the introductory stage, Su Jingxing naturally wouldn't give up. He continued on the 4th day. A day had passed, but he still had not reached the introductory stage. As night fell, Su Jingxing immersed himself in it again. At that moment, his phone, which was charging at the side, suddenly rang. From the corner of his eye, he quickly glanced at the screen and saw Shen Qian's number and notification. Another person is selling energy-gathering stones or special energy stones. Su Jingxing thought for a moment and decided to stop cultivating for the time being. He got up and grabbed his phone to pick up the call. "Senior, someone wants to kill me."